All right, please excuse us. We went long in closed session, but here we are, and I am Mary Ann Edwards, Mayor of Temecula, and ready to open this Temecula City Council meeting. So could we please have the invocation? Pastor Russell Holliday, Reliance Church. How are you? So we'll stand for the invocation and remain standing for the flag salute.
Pray. Father, we thank you for your presence. Lord, we pray that you would move among this room this evening. We ask that you would move among our community, among our nation. Lord, we need you, and we pray that you would empower us, Lord, by your Spirit to do what you have called us to do. I thank you that you've hand-selected each of these council members. Lord, you've prepared good works for them to walk in. And I pray, Lord, that they would strive according to the power that works in them by you. Lord, we pray also that you would protect their families. Lord, protect them physically and spiritually. We know your word tells us that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. And I'm thankful that we get to fight with spiritual weapons. And so tonight, Lord, we open this meeting fighting with prayer, Lord. We come before you and ask that you would give us wisdom. Lord, I pray for wisdom for each of these leaders. Lord, help them to lead well. And as I pray these things, I know that you will do exceedingly abundantly above all that I could ask or think. And so may Jesus get the glory both now and forever. I pray these things in his name, and all in agreement say,
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. If you please put your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam City Clerk, could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
Mayor Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Ron.
Here.
Councilmember Schwank.
Here.
Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
Thank you. So we have some presentations this evening, and the first one is going to be a proclamation for World Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day. So Anna Marie De Leon, how are you? Come on down, and thank you for being here. So I'm going to have Mayor Pro Tem Ron bring this down to you, but I want to read a little bit of it first. Everyone in this room knows someone who has succumbed to pancreatic cancer or who's under treatment for pancreatic cancer, so this hits home for a lot of us. So, City of Temecula Proclamation, whereas in 2021 an estimated 60,430 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 48,220 will die from the disease. And whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers and is currently the third leading cause of cancer death in the United States, and it is projected to soon become the second leading cause, and whereas pancreatic cancer is the major cancer with the lowest 5-year survival rate at just 10%, and whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves, it is generally in later stages, and 71% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first year of their diagnosis, while 90% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. Whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Temecula are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about the symptoms and risk factors of pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatments, therefore, be it, I, Mayor Mary Ann Edwards, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaim November 18th, 2021 to be World Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day. So thank you for being here, and as Mayor Pro Tem Ron comes down to bring you this, maybe you can tell us a little bit about, what we need to know about pancreatic cancer.
Yes, well, thank you, Madam Mayor and council members, for declaring November 18 as World Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Day. This act means a lot to me, and for all those who are fighting this disease. My husband was diagnosed in July 2014 and passed away 2 years later. So it'll be 5 years this month that he had passed away from pancreatic cancer. When he was diagnosed, we did not know anything about pancreatic cancer. We didn't even know. We were shocked, when the doctor told us about it. At first, we didn't really take it seriously until I read more about it. And it's very shocking what I had learned, because the symptom is very vague. So you don't really know, by the time your diagnosis is too late. So my husband was in stage 3 when he was diagnosed. But if I had known the symptom earlier, because he did show a stomach ache, back pain, loss of weight, loss of appetite, weight loss, he saw all those symptoms like months and months before he was diagnosed. If we had known the symptom, I could have brought him more to the doctor, to our doctor for attention. Maybe he will get diagnosed earlier and get surgery for it. But he was in stage 3, so surgery was out of the table. And he fought it for 2 years. He went with 3 different chemo treatments until he could no longer fight it. I had a close friend who was diagnosed with stage 1. At very, very stage 1, she had a whip of surgery, but she still also passed away 2 years after it. So since my husband passed away in 2016, 3 months later, I joined Pancreatic Cancer Network, and I start voicing out. I turn my grief and pain just to help others out and share awareness. I talk about pancreatic cancer a lot with friends, family, people at work. Every year, we dress purple. We dress purple on November 18th, Pancreatic Cancer Day. I do Purple Stride. I just try to get the words out there, because I wish I had known the symptom and know the sign. And, maybe we could have done something better. Maybe he will still be here.
Well,
So
we
I'm not
thank
sure.
you for your activism now, and just by what you just told us, that will make more people aware of what to look for in the symptoms. And so let us all take a little bit of responsibility and educate ourselves on pancreatic cancer and what we need to look for and what the follow-up should be.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem, you have the proclamation,
Thank you.
and there you go.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So it is also, November's a busy month. It is also National Veterans and Military Families Month. So Yvonne, are you here from the auxiliary? Good evening. How are you? So veterans and military families, we know military families play such a critical role, and we can't thank our veterans enough. So here's the City of Temecula proclamation. Whereas each November, the military community observes National Veterans and Military Families Month to celebrate how special military families are and recognize all the ways they support their service members. And whereas the City of Temecula is proud to recognize the men and women of the armed forces who valiantly defend our nation, past and present, and whereas Temecula is home to many military families, and we respect and acknowledge that military life imposes unique demands that require exceptional sacrifice, resilience, and courage. And whereas families provide our service members with invaluable encouragement and love and manage the home front while their loved ones are deployed. And whereas we approach the winter holiday season when families across the world come together, we pay special tribute to our deployed forces and their families who are separated this holiday season. And whereas the dedication and strength of military families during a sustained high operational tempo, increased deployment, and long separations is an inspiration to us all, the City of Temecula understands that families also serve and are honored to pay tribute to them. So I therefore, Mayor Mary Ann Edwards, on behalf of the City Council, City of Temecula, hereby proclaim the month of November to be National Veterans and Military Families Month. So thank you very much for everything you and the auxiliary does and the VFW. So what are you doing this month?
Pardon? Oh, we're doing the parade. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll be in the parade, and I have my post members and auxiliary members.
I see you
Can we
waving.
have a picture?
Sure,
Okay. Just let us know when.
sure. So, Matt, why don't you get a picture while presenting the proclamation?
I want to thank this city for being so patriotic. When my husband goes out with his, his hat, and he waits as I shop, because I take, all day to shop, and they would say, "Thank you for your service," So he's honored.
We're trying to
for that
make up
service.
for lost time in all those years when we did not show our appreciation for our men and women in military. So that's a good thing. People recognize your service. So come on down, you guys. Don't be shy.
Come on down. Come on, Judy. All of you. No.
I know, huh? I don't suppose some good Samaritan will jump up and take the picture so this gentleman can get in the picture.
Come on.
Thank you so much. And while we have you all captive there, we will say once again, thank you all for your military service. We owe you so much, and we can say so little other than thank you and recognize. And so,
Thank you, Mary Ann. All of you. Thank you.
Temecula is we have so many military families here, and we do always want to pay tribute and honor and respect our veterans, our active military, and their families. So the next one is, you're getting your exercise tonight. Proclamation for National Native American Heritage Month. And so for this, we have the Indigenous People Club of Great Oak High School. So come up, come on. And of course, you know that we dedicated the mural today outside the Temecula Museum that was painted by representatives from children, actually, elementary children all the way up through high school. So if you want to see this beautiful mural representative of National Native American Heritage Month, you go over to the library, and it's huge. I don't know, it's 18 feet long, 6 feet high. It's beautiful. So, on behalf of the City of Temecula, we have a proclamation for you. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by Native Americans and indigenous peoples, and whereas the rich and diverse culture, traditions, and histories of Native Americans have been celebrated throughout the United States and beyond, and whereas Native American Awareness Week was first designated in 1976 under President Gerald Ford, and whereas the recognition was expanded in 1990 as National American Indian Heritage Month, and later in 2009 as National Native American Heritage Month. And whereas to date there are 574 federally recognized tribes and 326 Native American reservations recognized across the United States. And whereas locally, the Pechanga Band of Luiseño Indians has called the Temecula Valley home for more than 10,000 years. Whereas Native American individuals and families are an integral part of the fabric of the community and contribute to its overall economy and quality of life, and whereas Native American community members are represented in the public and private sector as professionals, business owners, educators, students, volunteers, veterans, and more, and whereas these contributions include those of the youth of the community, including the Indigenous Peoples Club of Great Oak High School, I, Mary Ann Edwards, Mayor of Temecula, on behalf of the City Council, do declare and proclaim the month of November to be National Native American Heritage Month. So this is a great time for all of our residents to educate themselves and visit Pechanga, look at some of the historic pieces that they have there, go to the Temecula Museum, and learn everything you can. We're very fortunate to share this valley with a tribe that has more than 10,000 years of culture and history to share with us. And so, who's going to speak on behalf of the club? You are? And tell us your name.
Yeah, we're all going to introduce ourselves.
Okay, good.
So I'm Cedar Schaefer from the Paul Abandon Mission Indians.
I'm Alden Redhouse, a part of the Navajo tribe.
Great.
I'm Kaya Redhouse, a part of the Navajo tribe.
Welcome.
Hiya, Kayowisnim, Annalisa Cortez, Wakiensis. Hi, my name's Annalisa Cortez, and I'm from the Tule River Band of Yokuts. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, my name is Dorothy Herrera, and I'm from the Pechanga Band of the Senor Indians.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Malia Vargas. I'm also from the Pechanga Band of the Senior Native Americans.
You know, I know that, oh, sorry, I missed one. Were you hiding behind somebody?
I'm Ursula. I'm from Kauai, Torres Martinez, and from Pechanga Band of los Senor Indians.
Well, welcome all of you. Please, if you haven't seen the mural yet, go down and look at it, and I think you'll be very proud. I know that the students spent a lot of time on it because they too are very proud. In fact, we had the largest crowd today for the unveiling of that mural that we've had so far this year. So just real briefly, tell us, what kind of activities do you promote? What do you do as a group?
So just like a little explanation about the club. So we're just developing education and expanding awareness of both local and broader indigenous cultures. And so our club is a community within Great Oak High School to build upon the greater sense of cultural understanding and respect. And so we just aim to build upon previous years of experience and have many more meaningful interactions like this one today within the Temecula community. And so on behalf of the Indigenous Peoples Culture Club, we thank you.
Well, we thank you too for raising awareness throughout Great Oak High School and sharing your wonderful culture. So, Mayor Pro Tem, is anybody going to take a picture? Don't be shy. Get right up there in the middle.
We the people of Kupa.
Okay, form up here. And while they're taking the picture, we really enjoy having our high school students here for our council meetings, even though you have to be here. We hope that you derive some benefit and learn something. So how many, we'll start with Great Oak, how many
Thank you.
Wolfpack do we have here? Any? Oh, I see one other hand. Oh, okay, got some over there. Okay, Golden Bears, where are you? None? No Golden Bears? Oh, don't be shy, you can be the only one. And CHSers, you here? Wow, just a few. So Great Oak, you've got it. Yeah, and thank you. And Amy, we didn't even let you speak. Oh, thank you. Okay, so moving on to board and commission reports. Let's go first with Eric Levine from Community Services Commission. Hi, Eric, how are you?
I'm great, and good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, staff, and colleagues. Community Services Commission met last night and received an update on the Quality of Life Master Plan. Good job. We also have a Veterans Day celebration this Thursday, November 11th at 6 p.m. The City of Temecula proudly presents the annual Patriotic Salute to Veterans at the Temecula Civic Center. A civic favorite, we invite you to join us as we honor and thank our veterans for their selfless service. The event will feature the presentation of military banners to recognize our active military personnel, a recognition of the Path of Honor paver program, and followed by a live performance by the Temecula Valley Symphony. Bring your entire family, friends, lawn chairs, and warm blankets to enjoy a wonderful evening under the stars. And lastly tonight, Backhouse Dance returns to launch Temecula Theater's 17th dance series on Saturday, November 20th at 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for this eclectic and whimsical performance. In addition to the show, Temecula Presents will offer a free master dance class beginning at 1 p.m. the day of performance.
Wow.
Space is limited, Madam Mayor. So contact our ticket office today. That concludes my report
That's
tonight.
great. We love the dance performances. We love them all, but when you're not a dancer, you're particularly enthralled by dance performances. So thank you, Eric.
You
Okay.
got it.
Ross, how are you? Ross Jackson, Old Town Local Review
Good
Board.
evening. Yes, thank you very much for asking. And so it was a interesting morning for us to have our Old Town Local Review Board meeting yesterday morning. First Monday morning after the daylight savings time kicked back. And so, of course, one of our members didn't set his clock and got lost coming to the parking lot or parking his car. I don't know what it was, but anyway, he got lost.
He's in Old Town and he got lost.
Yes,
Okay.
and so we started a bit late, and as like my cohort over here, we had a presentation on the Old Town, the Quality of Life Master Plan, of which I'm happy to say that I am thoroughly enjoying to being a part of that Blue Ribbon Committee. I'm looking forward to our next meeting on November 18th. The presentation was well-versed by Matt Peters, which is, again, he's the head, shall we say, the head honcho on quality of life, and he makes sure that we all get the correct information. It was a enlightenment to the other board members, and they're looking forward to giving me some input on their ideas and thoughts. After the meeting, we had a brief discussion about the quality of life and what it meant to them in Temecula. So with that, that's basically what we had, and then we had a little bit of a conversation in regards to the specific plan, workshops, information that one of the suggestions that was made was that any new board member kind of get an orientation of what to do with that book. They're they want to be part of the Old Town Local Review Board, but they don't realize what is intended to be part of that board because there's a notebook that's handed to them. So I made a suggestion that all new board members at least get an orientation from staff that would help them understand and prepare them for when we do get a project that's been submitted to us, that they'll have a little bit more knowledge other than, oh, that's a pretty picture. And what the intent of that proposal is for the city of Temecula. It's just not to fill in a hole, a voided space, an empty parking lot. It's to enhance and keep the city of Old Town growing as it is intended to grow, with the correct design elements. So that was pretty much it for the meeting. Lasted all of 45 minutes.
Quality of Life Master Plan is a tall order and very important, as it is the roadmap that the city will follow, for the next, we establish it, we look out 30 years. So it'll be very important, and we're getting a lot of resident input on the Quality of Life Master Plan.
And then also in regards to that, I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
November 13th is at the farmer's market, just to remind everybody that there is going to be a little booth for quality of life management. Team is going to be there, so if anybody wants to come by and ask questions, feel free to come and meet with us. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I have another commitment this weekend.
You did remember to set your clock, though.
Yes, ma'am?
Okay, just checking.
Yes.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
All right. Brad Sullivan.
Hello,
Hello.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, executive staff. I bring regards from Chair Commissioner Richardson. He had a job requirement out of state, so it's my pleasure to come and present for you. And we'll review some of the actions taken at our last meeting, October 28th. As with the other commissions, we received an update on the Quality of Life Master Plan, and we're given homework, which we will return early in December with our input and suggestions. Commissioner Mattis, who's our liaison, is doing an excellent job in breaking down what's happening at the meetings and presenting to us. So we feel like we're there even when we're not. We also received a local roadway safety plan, and that was quite interesting as well. Next slide, please. With Commissioner Richardson filling the chair position when Commissioner Hagel moved to planning, we had a new opening for vice chair, and the board elected Skip Carter as the vice chair. He's anxious to get into the role and get going. He had some personal issues that set him back for a couple years, but he's fully active at this time. Next chart, please. Traffic received one letter from a concerned citizen regarding the striping at Red Hawk and Peppercorn Drive. The traffic engineers went out there, reviewed it, looked at it, and after review, they didn't feel any changes were necessary, so the board accepted the recommendations received and file. Next, and thank you. And then we also received a recommendation of no changes to the Valentino Way Hardware Drive, I don't know how to say that, at Vale Ranch, and the commission voted 4-0 to approve the staff recommendation. And that's it for our report.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have a public safety report. Chief Crater, how are you?
Good, Madam Mayor. Good evening. And good evening to our council members and staff and our community. Temecula Fire Department stats calls for service in October. Your firefighters ran 864 calls in the city, 617 of those being medical related, a total of 17 fires and 75 traffic collisions. That is down a little bit from last month, but we expect to get busy during the month of December just with the seasonal flu and activities that people are doing. So we'll see what that turns out to be, but overall the community has been fairly healthy and it seems to be going well. Next slide. As far as the plan reviews and inspections in the city from our prevention office, plan reviews month of October, 544. Construction inspections, 381. Annual inspections, 470. And then we did have 24 people actually come into City Hall to the counter for those inquiries. And then to the right is our year-to-date totals, which are pretty high. There's a lot of stuff going on in the city, and we're keeping up with the demand for building and plan reviews and inspections and all those types of things that our prevention department does. Next slide, please. All right, and then Sparkle Love Toy Drive is coming up in December. We will have all that information on our city website, and you could drop off a unwrapped toy at any of the 5 fire stations in the city of Temecula. And that concludes my report.
And when you say unwrapped, you mean not gift wrapped?
Do not, unwrapped.
Yes, don't you gift wrap it, okay.
No gift wrapping.
Right.
We will do that for them.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so moving on, we're ready for public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have public comments on non-agenda items, so we will need to read those rules. We do not have public comments on consent calendar, so we can dispense with those.
Okay. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the City Council on matters not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the city clerk or deputy city clerk, or by submitting an email to be read aloud into the record at the meeting. Email comments must be submitted to councilcomments@temeculaca.gov. Speaker cards for in-person comments will be called in the order received by the city clerk or deputy city clerk, and then, if time remains, email comments will be read, period. Email comments on all matters must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. So could we have our first speaker, please?
Yes, the first public comment is from Bob Cal, to be followed by Chuck Toro.
Well, Mr. Cal, you were behind the Purell, antibacterial dispenser there. I didn't see you.
Do I need to do this?
Yeah, from where you're sitting, I couldn't see you.
Oh, I see. I thought.
Yeah, I didn't tell you had to use it on your hands.
I didn't know what you.
I just didn't see you sitting there.
Okay. Hey, I saw that the groundbreaking of the 270 apartment and housing complex near the duck pond. As you said, the public was not allowed to vote on this because, or you were not allowed to vote on this because it was mandated by the state as SB 9. I just asked a question, why did you need to vote on it at all if it was not mandated by the state? Question number one, did you have something to say on the design? Is that why? Is it part of a quid pro quo where the city gets $14 million to spend on projects in return for giving up sovereignty of the city to the state? As bad as a particular project is to Temecula, what happens in the future? Let's say the Senate passes a law that all people within the city need to get a vaccine or they can no longer do business in the city. And in return, the city gets $100 million. Let's make that up. Will you take it? Will you take the money? Let's say that the unvaxxed have to be rounded up and sent to hospitals or camps or something. Is that okay for $100 million? Will you give up that sovereignty of the city? Oroville, California, seceded from California just the other day by resolution. They can't legally do that yet because of the COVID mandate, and says it is a new constitutional republic of Oroville. Let's show these dictators in Sacramento that we aren't going to take it anymore. Let's join in with Oroville and find cities that will join in with us. It is the people. It is not the city or the council that cede freedom to others. You have been elected to protect our rights. We are the people. If some people want to live in slavery, they can go down to Australia right now. There are slaves there. Americans are free. We will stay free. We will not give up. We are Americans. We have been adopted by this country, by a system that gives us freedom. Let us not give it up. I also want to add just another thing. I like I know I only have 39 seconds. There's a Professor Brittany Cooper at Rutgers. If the city could ask the Reddy Commission to condemn what she said, it was racist against white people. She said white people showed that they're violent, terrible, and trying to take everything from everybody. White people are committed to be villains. We got to get rid of these MFers out. That needs to be condemned. And that would be nice to have it condemned by the Reddy Commission. Thank you.
The next speaker is Chuck Toro, to be followed by our last speaker, Jessica Christopher.
Good evening.
Good evening. Mayor Edwards, council members, Temecula City must disestablish the Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission and replace with the simplicity of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Our country, United States of America, was founded on biblical principles. The Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the supreme law of the land, the United States Constitution, we the people. The first 10 amendments of the U.S. Constitution, called the Bill of Rights, addresses what all people are earnest for, especially the First Amendment: no law respecting the establishment of religion, prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievance. The existing readi replaces Karl Marx's philosophy, Manifesto of the Communist Party, of the bourgeois and proletarians' class struggle with race, equity, diversity, and inclusion. America's Californians and Temeculans are here by values and not skin color. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The Read-I pins one group against another and does not unify a people. The City Council of Temecula, in Resolution Number 2020-59, Section 2, calls for 7 members for Read-I. 4 existing members of the board are black, 3 women and 1 man, 57%. 1 Hispanic woman, 14%. 2 Caucasian women, 29%. 6 of the members are women, or 86%. And how is that just? Utilizing the tenets of Read-I, black people make up approximately 13% of the population. Men and women are generally split 50-50. Hispanics, approximately 37% in California. No white men, majority of country. Black people cannot be hateful to other people. Resolution number 2020-59 for Read-I is hypocritical and applying reverse discrimination. Charles Darwin promoted the separation of human races within his theories and books. Some races are superior to others, according to Darwin. The Holy Bible promotes men and women. The first man, Adam, and the first woman, Eve, no one knows the color of their skin, and the God of the Bible does not make that a priority. To what we see today in the world, people. Today, Temecula is a mixed city of people as well as the state of California. The City Council of Temecula in Resolution Number 2020-59 does not define the meaning of each word pertaining to race, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and each word must be defined. Finally, the creation of Read-I stems from the death of George Floyd and the comments of the former mayor of Temecula. Temecula Police, as well as Riverside County Sheriff's Department, are professionals and public servants. They keep our community safe from bad, immoral, and evil people. Also, there are programs in place to assist and help wayward actions from people getting arrested for criminal activities. The former mayor of Temecula was voted back to the Temecula City Council, and rightly so, and no more outrage. And I sent this letter on 29 August 2021, and I have not heard a response from the council or the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the last speaker is Jessica Christopher.
Hi, Jessica, how are you?
Hey, I'm shorter than them.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. Mayor, City Council, I gave you some books a few weeks ago. One was How to Read the Constitution, and the other was The Constitution. The Founding Fathers did some amazing things when they formed our government. They created checks and balances. Balance, I believe, that doesn't currently exist on the Ready Commission. That, in part, is why Eric Faulkner on the Ready Commission believes it is appropriate to be aggressive towards me. On August 11th, I went over to Eric Faulkner when there was an exchange with a city council member and a person attending the meeting. I was handing out flyers for a veteran event. He is a veteran, so I wanted to give him a flyer and open the door to a similar conversation that I have had with Denise Wilson, who is also on the commission. I left the meeting, as I did, not want to watch the exchange. When I walked up to Eric Faulkner, he started to get nasty. Denise came over with someone else to intervene. The second time was on August 24th. After the council was done taking photos with Mike Comanchero, I was walking out of the bathroom with an armload of books, the books I gave to you. And Eric walked right at me, trying to run me down or force me to move. Both should be caught on the cameras in the foyer on those nights. Most women and some men of my size would have been frightened by his aggression. Very few physical things bother me, but this interaction should scare the city. His behavior is inappropriate on all levels. I ask for his immediate removal from the Ready Commission. I believe there needs to be balance on the commission with people who think differently, who don't have a racial chip on their shoulder or a racial agenda, who want to make sure the Constitution of the United States is upheld, that all people are created equal. The lack of balance on the commission, I believe, has given Eric Faulkner belief that his behavior is acceptable. The lack of balance in the state has legislation like SB 9, crazy mandates that have hurt and continue to hurt the residents of this city and this state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, that was the last public comment.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move on to city council reports. And who wants to go first? Jess, you want to go first?
All right, if I can get my slide, there you go. Thank you. All right, well, I just wanted to kind of just let everybody know about tomorrow and just give a little bit of brief of exactly what the Marine Corps birthday is and just say happy birthday to all of my brothers and sisters in the Marine Corps. Marine Corps birthday is observed on November 10th. It was celebrated on November 10th, 1921 by the U.S. government to show the appreciation for the United States Marines. Having given part in nearly every U.S. conflict, the Marine Corps has defended our country since the Americans' interception. On November 10th, the United States Marine Corps birthday honors the history, values, and memory of our heroes who have served and, oh my goodness, what a day I'm having with my glasses, rekindles the bond which unites generations of Marines. The day celebrates traditions of the Marine Corps with profound respect, paying tribute to the heritage of its distinguished service. So I just wanted to highlight tomorrow is the 246th birthday of the Marine Corps here in the United States. And I also wanted to invite my fellow Marines and the public to the VFW tomorrow for the cake cutting ceremony. That is going to be open at the post at 5 p.m. And the cake cutting ceremony, if you've never seen it, is absolutely incredible. But that's going to be starting at 7 p.m. So I just want to say thank you to all my fellow Marines. Hoorah and Semper Fi.
Thank you, Jess. So Matt, do you have anything? Matt and Stu, do you have anything?
I'll just say that we had our final financial class like a week and a half ago.
Financial literacy?
Yes, that one. And it was very well received. We had about, I'd say, 20 people there that night. So it was very interesting. But I do think going forward, we're gonna look into partnering with other nonprofits that are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And just promote their activities rather than the city take it on. So, but I'm actively looking for nonprofits that put on that class just to make it available to people who want to get a handle on their finances. So,
I know a couple.
yeah.
Thank you, and thank you for doing that, Stu. That's one of the things where it's really not covered in school these days, and so everybody needs to know. And contrary to what I believed when I was a teenager, as long as you have checks in your checkbook, that doesn't mean you have money in your account. So I've gotten past that. So I'm going to talk about, I'm going to reiterate what we said about veterans, and we have our veterans celebration coming up also. So, you heard about that from the commission. And then the next thing we want to talk about is Puesca Mountain Day, and it's a very, very special celebration that the city joins and honors the Pechanga Band of the Luiseno Mission Indians. The city has a wonderful relationship with Pechanga, and Puesca Mountain is their sacred mountain, what they consider to be the beginning of time. And after we went through an extended battle with a very large quarry, one of the largest in the United States, that was about to dig a 1,000-foot deep hole right on Puesca Mountain in the middle of very sensitive habitat, Pechanga stepped up and actually bought that property to protect it as their sacred place of the beginning place. So on Puesca Mountain Day, we get together, we honor the tribe, and then we share a proclamation that reaffirms everything that the tribe has done and the relationship it has with the city. So that's going to be Monday, November 15th at 4 p.m. We'll have seating, and then there'll be music at 4:30. We're going to have a recital of the actual proclamation. At 5, we're going to have appetizers and a fabulous documentary movie that Pechanga has produced about the quarry and the battle that we had with the quarry and their history. And then we will culminate with a concert on the steps of City Hall. So it is a wonderful celebration that we use to honor Pechanga. And I always tell them they have more than 10,000 years of history, and we've been here 32 years, so please have a little patience with us. And they are wonderful, wonderful partners, community partners with the city and with the greater community. So if you want to come out for the celebration of Puesca Mountain Day, then we will see you on Monday, November 15th here at City Hall. Okay. We can move on to consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine, and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the City Council request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the City Council on items that appear on the consent calendar. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the city clerk or deputy city clerk, or by submitting an email to be read aloud into the record at the meeting. Email comments must be submitted to councilcomments@temeculaca.gov. Speaker cards for in-person comments will be called in the order received by the city clerk or deputy city clerk, and then, if time remains, email comments will be read. Email comments on all matters must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. And you already told me I didn't have to read that, didn't you, Randy? Okay, so we don't have any speakers, I take it. So let's go on to item number 1, waive reading of standard ordinances and resolutions. Number 2, approve action minutes of October 26th and November 2nd, 2021. 3, approve list of demands. 4, approve recommendation for community service funding program for fiscal year 2021-22 at the request of subcommittee members, Councilmember Alexander and Councilmember Schwank. Number 5, authorize city manager to execute the license agreement between the City of Temecula and Steve Y. Kim Living Trust for the use of property for public parking purposes. Number 6, authorize city manager to execute memorandum of understanding between the City of Temecula and RTA Rancho Highlands, LLC, pertaining to the Inez Road improvements. Number 7, approve agreement with Mariposa Tree Management, Inc. for citywide tree trimming maintenance services for fiscal year 2021-22. Number 8, approve agreement for construction support services with STC Traffic, Inc. for fiber optic communication system upgrade PW 18-05. And number 9, accept improvements and file the notice of completion for pavement rehabilitation program, Butterfield Stage Road and Paba Road, PW 19-08. Does anyone want to pull anything for discussion? And if not, Matt.
Just hoping we can get the city manager to report out on item number 5 just a bit. That's a pretty exciting item.
Yes, it is. Okay. So, Mr. City Manager, it is.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just real quick, this is an agreement that staff has orchestrated with Mr. Kim, who is the proud owner of the vacant lot on Front Street across from the Stampede. He was gracious enough over the weekend during Rod Run, one of our signature events, to allow us onto his property, grade it, stripe it, and we accommodated 150 cars parked there, free to the public. This agreement this evening allows us to utilize his lot to continue to park the public there all year round, 150 spaces, no cost to the public. And Pat and his team are going to be in there putting in some temporary lighting and keeping it up to the standards similar to what you see out in front of City Hall. And of course, Mr. Kim, once he moves forward with his prospective development, he will evict the City of Temecula as a tenant on that parking lot. But in the meantime, we will enjoy that, and we appreciate his willingness to partner with us. So again, thank you for letting me comment on that.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very exciting. Just more parking. And I think his proposal is for even more parking after he potentially develops that. So much needed, and very gracious of him to provide that.
All right, are we good? So,
Mayor, quick question, if I can
Yes?
just add.
Sure.
City Manager, if you could just also just expand and explain a little bit more about agenda number 6 for the public as well, of just what that entails.
Yeah, item 6, this is the Affordable Housing Overlay Zone project, multifamily, at the corner of Rancho and Inez. We discussed this project in great length 2 weeks ago in terms of the what it's going to be made up of, affordable units as well as market rate units. As part of that project, the developer has a obligation to improve their frontage on Inez. And so it would be, so this MOU this evening memorializes that, codifies that. That is their responsibility to improve, essentially widen Inez at that area, which is a good thing. But we don't just want that section widened. So in concert with this development, and we have this in our capital improvement plan, we will either negotiate for the developer to improve the full widening of Inez from Rancho, California to Rancho Vista, or we will do the full length and they will pay their fair share of those frontage improvements. So we will be working that out. There's some environmental hurdles to overcome. We'd like to do it as one project. I know Pat Thomas would prefer to do it as one project, but if we can't, we will do it as two projects, and that is the goal, to completely widen Inez from Rancho Vista north all the way to Rancho Cal.
All right, thank you, sir.
So basically, it's going to complete that missing link of completed roadway that kind of bottlenecks there on Inez when you're headed north towards
Yeah,
the
it'll
duck
definitely
pond.
improve the circulation on that section there.
All right, excellent. Okay, so anything else? Then I will accept a motion for consent calendar.
I'll move consent.
Second.
Okay, motion for consent and second. So cast your votes. I bet it passes. What do you bet?
5-0.
All right, so we're going to move on. So I'm going to recess the Temecula City Council meeting to the meetings of the Community Services District and Chairman Jeff Swain.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'll call tonight's Temecula Community Services District meeting to order. Madam City Clerk, please note that we're all still in attendance. Do we have any public comments this evening?
No, we do not have any public comments on CSD non-agenda items nor on the consent calendar.
Thank you very much. I will go ahead and dispense with the reading of those rules, and we will move on to our consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine, and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the Community Services District request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the Board of Directors on items that appear on the consent calendar. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting or by submitting a speaker card to the city clerk or deputy city clerk, or by submitting an email to be read aloud into the record at the meeting. Email comments must be submitted to councilcomments@temeculaca.gov. Speaker cards for in-person comments will be called in the order received by the city clerk or deputy city clerk, and then, if time remains, email comments will be read. Email comments on all matters must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. Item number 10, approve action minutes of October 26, 2021. Item number 11, approve second amendment with M&J Paul Enterprises, DBA Jolly Jumps for additional event services. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let us vote. Wonderful, that passes 5-0. Thank you, everyone. We will move on to our CSD Director's report. Anything this evening?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I have 2 items tonight. I'll be giving a brief recap on the Rod Run, and then I'll be introducing Cassandra Ambrose and the Yak for a quick update. So the 2021 Temecula Rod Run 2-day event included cruise night on Friday and show and shine on Saturday. Over 450 beauties lined the streets. Owners were excited to talk about their cars with spectators, and tens of thousands of people enjoyed the perfect weather, music from Jeff Waddleton, and many restaurants in Old Town. Our vendors along Main Street and nearly sold us out of Rod Run merchandise. After 2 years of rain and then a huge pandemic, I would say the Rod Run was a success, and the event team was so glad to see our old friends. Over 48,000 spectators enjoyed the Old Town in the signature Temecula special event. A huge thank you to Councilmember Stewart for leading cruise night, Councilmember Schwank for joining us at the show and shine, and Planning Commissioner Ruiz for supporting his friends in the community services. Thank you to Fire and for manning the first aid, to RSO for all the support at the road closures, directing traffic, and working so well with staff this year. A special thank you to Sergeant Askins, as this was our first signature event that we worked together. And thank you to Public Works Street Team for all their dedication and muscle with such a small staff, and our facility maintenance staff for helping us look sharp. TCSD's small and mighty team stretched like crazy behind the scenes to serve the public this perfect Rod Run weekend. We could not be more proud of this event this weekend. Just another Dawn-tastic production for certain. This concludes my Rod Run recap report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Wonderful. Any questions or comments? It was quite an event, and everyone's glad to be back. I know that.
Thank you.
So
We'll
thank
be
you.
back at it in April, at the last weekend of April.
Love it.
Community Services Specialist Cassandra Embreeze and the YAC will be presenting a brief update on their activities at the request of TCSD President Schwenk. It is my pleasure to introduce Cass and YAC for a brief update. Thank you.
All right, welcome, Yak. And welcome, Cassandra.
Hi, all. Hello and good evening, Mayor and City Council members, as well as fellow staff. My name is Cassandra Embreeze, and I am the Community Services Specialist with the City of Temecula's Community Services Department, Human Services Division. Tonight, I have the honor of presenting a truly wonderful group of students, the Youth Advisory Council. Before they come up, I would like to tell you all a little bit about the Youth Advisory Council, otherwise known as YAC. YAC is a service-based organization that focuses on youth leadership, service learning, volunteerism, and educational achievement for all. This program is intended for local high school students, and it really creates opportunities for our students to engage in community involvement through intergenerational programming, through professional development, civic leadership, and building community rapport. Meetings are typically held on Wednesdays from 5 to 6 p.m. throughout the school year. And a few of the projects and programs of note that our students participate in are the annual holiday food drive, which you'll hear a little bit about, the intergenerational tech program, SKIP, High Hopes, the Eagle Soar Playground and Splash Pad Special Needs Program, the Self-Care Fair, Park and Community Cleanups, the Health and Wellness Fair, and much more. But what we truly love about this program is allowing our YAC students to giving them the opportunity to really help coordinate programs and activities. And in addition, just giving them the opportunity to also decide how they want to impact the community. Now, without further ado, I would like to call up the Youth Advisory Council members to the podium.
All right, welcome.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Geraldine Mendoza from the Youth Advisory Council, and I'll be providing an update on what we accomplished throughout the month of October. Earlier this month, we had our second experience working with the Special Needs Social Skills Program at the Eagle Soar Playground, in which we engaged as buddies with the children and ensured that they were safe and enjoying their time at the splash pad. As you may know, the program is a sensory-friendly program that gives children with disabilities a stress-free environment where they can explore and interact with one another. As the Youth Advisory Council, we encourage them to explore and participate while providing them with necessary interaction. During October, we also began designing this year's YAC t-shirts. Each of us worked on and submitted a design, and we will be voting on the submissions we like the most, as well as merging any components from different designs and finally picking what our shirts will look like. Our next event that we participated in was the Financial Literacy Workshop, where we learned about the importance of planning, budgeting, and how to achieve financial success. In the series of workshops, we were introduced to the 10 steps to aid in making educated financial choices. The steps included establishing goals, creating spending and saving plans, living within our means, planning ahead, and many other tidbits of advice. We were also given physical resources to further our understanding of the 10 steps. These resources included a worksheet to lay out a timeline for our financial goals, monthly income trackers, monthly expenses charts, budgeting guidelines, and many more. Although I personally was not able to attend, I found the packet alone to be extremely helpful and can only imagine how informative this workshop was to other youth as we prepare to go out into the world. I will now turn it over to another member, Miriam McGivey.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. My name is Mary McGivey, and I am a member of the Temecula Youth Advisory Council. I have been given the pleasure of providing an overview of the Temecula Halloween Festival, which took place on October 29th. The duty of volunteers in the Youth Advisory Council was to help run the several games laid out for the children of Temecula, ensuring the games were run smoothly, along with our advisors, who we are grateful for in guiding us and bringing more enjoyment to the already exciting volunteer experience. As a high school student, it is endearing to energize the children of our city and encourage them to hit that hammer onto the belt or throw beanbags at ducks, before trying to push the ducks with their own hands, thinking they're outsmarting the adults. This concludes the activities in the month of October for the Youth Advisory Council, and now I will go on to share the activities and projects of November. One of our commitments as YAC is to give back to the community, and this month we are doing that by holding a holiday food drive-through November 19th. All proceeds will benefit the Community Mission of Hope, and during this event, we will be having a one-day drive-through component in partnership with the Temecula Teen Council on Wednesday, November 10th from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. The following Wednesday, we will be assisting with the Skip Thanksgiving event. And somewhere in between now and our Thanksgiving break, we will also be having a YAC Friendsgiving to build community with one another. We thank you for taking the time to listen and appreciate you allowing us to come to this City Council meeting as the Temecula Youth Advisory Council.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments for our Youth Advisory Council? Yeah. Thank you all for coming. The reason I wanted you to come is we get these updates and we read about all the impacts that you do, and I really wanted us to be able to put a face to those updates and those impacts in the community. So I really appreciate all that you're doing for the residents and just for the community at large. So again, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, is there a general manager's report this evening?
Nothing further tonight.
All right, anything from our directors? Yeah, I'm going to add one thing very quickly. I have a slide. I'm going to ask that to be put up for Around and About Temecula Season 3, Episodes 22, 23, and 24 earned another Capella Award of Distinction for Tactics, Audio-Visual, Video, and Long Form. So Polaris Awards recognize the best in public relations communications in the Inland Empire. So I'm really proud of Around and About Temecula. I know we all know about that program. We love it. The community, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It is a great way for us to reach out a little bit deeper into the community in a very meaningful way. I just wanted to highlight the work of the team, the Around and About Temecula team, for all the hard work they do in our community, and very proud of this award. I have it right here, my smudgy fingerprints all over it, and I will return it back to TCSD where it rightfully belongs. So thank you for everything you're doing. Appreciate that. All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn to our next regularly scheduled meeting, held Tuesday, November 23rd. We are adjourned.
And we're going to reconvene the Temecula City Council council meeting, actually in the position of the successor agency to the Temecula Redevelopment Agency. So we're going to call this meeting to order, and could we have the roll call, please?
Madam Mayor, we will note that you are all present still, and we have no public comments on non-agendized items nor on the consent calendar.
All right, thank you. So we'll move right on to the consent calendar, item number 12, approve action minutes of October 26, 2021. And I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Okay? All right. Thank you very much. So Executive Director, anything?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing? Directors, anything? Nothing? All right, so we are going to adjourn the SARDA meeting to the next meeting held on November 23rd at 5:30. All right, for closed session. Okay, so moving on to reconvening the Temecula City Council meeting now, and this is a public hearing. So, Madam City Clerk, I will read the initial introduction. Any person may submit written comments to the City Council before a public hearing or may appear and be heard in support of or in opposition to the approval of the projects at the time of the hearing. If you challenge any of the projects in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues or someone else raised at the public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the city clerk at or prior to the public hearing. For all public hearings, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the city clerk or deputy city clerk, or by submitting an email to be read aloud into the record at the meeting. Email comments must be submitted to city council, I don't have trouble with that every time, submitted to councilcomments@temeculaca.gov. Email comments on all matters, including those not on the agenda, must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments. At public hearing involving land use matters, the property owner or the applicant/property owner has the burden of proof and therefore shall be allowed 15 minutes for an initial presentation and an additional 10 minutes for rebuttal by its development team following other comments on the matter. The mayor may allow more time if required to provide due process for the property owner or applicant. An appellant, other than the property owner or applicant, and the spokesperson for an organized group of residents residing within the noticed area of the property, which is the subject of the public hearing, shall be allowed 15 minutes to present the appellant's position on the council. The mayor may allow more time if required to provide due process for the appellant. Other members of the public may speak during public hearing for a maximum period of 5 minutes each. Deferral of one speaker's time to another is not permitted. In the event there is a large number of speakers, the mayor may reduce the maximum time limit for members of the public to speak. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. So number 13 is receive and file Assembly Bill AB 1600 financial reports fiscal year 2020-21 development impact fee expenditures. And Jennifer Hennessy.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor and
Good
City
evening.
Council members. I'm afraid that your instructions may be longer than our entire hearing here, but
They're like 4 times longer than they used to be.
The item before you tonight is a summary of the development impact fee expenditures for fiscal year 2021. A development impact fee is a fee that's imposed by the city on new development projects in order to mitigate the impacts on public facilities from that development. In 1989, the state legislature passed Assembly Bill 1600, which added Section 66000 to the California Government Code. This legislation is known as the Mitigation Fee Act. Section 66006 requires an accounting of development impact fees be provided at a public hearing every 5 years. The city has a practice of providing this report annually in order to provide for maximum transparency. Per the Government Code, development impact fee revenue must be spent within 5 years of receipt on eligible capital improvements that mitigate the impacts of the development activity. Currently, the city has 8 separate development impact fees, which are all summarized here. And for fiscal year 2021, just over $2 million in DIF revenue, or development impact fee revenue, was collected across the 8 separate development impact fee accounts. A total of $5,487 of interest was earned, and a total of $1.1 million was expended across the 7 different capital projects. The remaining DIF fund balance for all 8 accounts totals $1.1 million and is programmed for expenditure in accordance with the capital improvement program adopted by the council on June 8th of 2021. This concludes my report. I'm available for any questions.
Questions? No. Stu? No questions. All right, so then in that case, do we have any comments? I'm going to open the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, we do not have any public comments.
No comments, so going once, going twice, and closing the public hearing. Any discussion, or I will accept a motion?
Motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, motion and a second. And I don't see it, but I know it's unanimous because I saw everybody push those buttons. So Moving on to item number 14, this item actually was removed from the agenda for further discussion with staff. So that takes us down to departmental reports or city manager report. Anything?
Yeah, the departmental reports receive and file,
Yep.
Madam Mayor, and I have no further reports this evening.
Okay, Peter, city attorney?
Yes, Madam Mayor and members of the council, we had a closed session tonight, but we have no reportable actions from the closed session.
Okay, and the final on the agenda is items for future city council agendas. So, Madam City Clerk, do I need to read the rules?
Yes, we actually have an item on there, so yes,
Okay.
please.
All right. Any council member, including the mayor, may request an item be placed on a future agenda. Any such request will be discussed under this section. In making the request, a council member may briefly describe the topic of the proposed agenda item and any timing associated with the placement of the item on the agenda. This description shall not exceed 3 minutes unless extended by a majority vote of the city council. No substantive discussion on the subject of the motion may occur. General discussion among the city council on items listed under this section of the agenda shall be limited to 15 minutes. Items may only be placed on the agenda by council members pursuant to policy or by the city manager based on administrative or operational needs of the city. Public comments on the placement of these agenda items shall be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. Individual comments shall not exceed 3 minutes. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings and agenda placements by council members adopted by resolution number 2021-54. All right, so we have item A, memorial and monument policy at the request of council member Stewart. So,
All right,
Stu.
so I put this on so we could possibly have a discussion of creating a policy based on one of our citizens wanting to put a monument at the duck pond. And it got me thinking, and I conferred with staff, and staff said there is really no policy on that. And I think as a city council, it might be a good idea for us to put something on paper. So when staff is questioned or asked about something like this, at least they would have a framework in which to work by. And right now, there really isn't anything. And who knows? I mean, that one request may turn into 10. So it would be nice if staff had direction exactly what is doable as a monument within a city park, not just the duck pond, but any park. And so I thought it would be great if we created a subcommittee that would work through a lot of details, get into the weeds a little bit, and then bring it back to the city council for discussion and or approval.
all right, so any questions for Stu? So now we're going to combine this. Do we want to do the format? Oh, this is just to be on the agenda, so we're not
Right.
talking about substance.
Yeah,
So then, let's go ahead. I'll take a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Can I ask I need to ask
A second for discussion? Sure.
point of clarification. Because if I recall correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we could kick this to a subcommittee that currently exists if it falls within that framework.
Sure.
So we
That's
wouldn't
correct.
necessarily have to have that discussion, I mean, I guess to put it on the agenda to kick it to a subcommittee, but that is an option, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so right now, we're just voting on whether or not it will be on the agenda, and then we can pursue the further discussion of how it will work. So
I second
I
it,
have a
so-
motion and a second, so we can go ahead and vote. And it's unanimous. Thank you, Stu. That's a really good idea. So we are ready for adjournment, and I'll take a motion for adjournment to the
Motion.
next city council meeting on November 23rd.
Are we
and-
going to adjourn in somebody's honor?
Yes, we actually
let's do
are.
that.
Yes, Temecula actually lost a dear friend and longtime Temecula resident and philanthropist, a great volunteer. Jimmy Fu owned a wonderful photography studio, and he actually was a contractor for the city. In addition to that, he was a friend to everyone he met. He was very active in Rotary. He was at almost every event supporting Temecula in every way possible. and he has succumbed to a long battle with cancer, and he is going to be sorely missed. And Sue, he's also, you know him, you want to say anything?
No, you summed him up perfectly. He
Yeah.
was just, I don't think anybody didn't like him.
No, everybody
The
loved
minute you
Jimmy.
met the guy, you love this guy. So it's really a big loss for our city.
It is. He had a heart of gold, and he will be missed. So we will have to work very hard collectively to fill those big shoes. So on behalf of our friend Jimmy Fu, we will adjourn this meeting.